Welcome back to Squawk. I'm Bruce Whitfield. The number of African billionaires has more than doubled from 25 to 55. The latest Ventures magazine African billionaire roll. Most of the super rich live in Nigeria and, yes, in South Africa. Nigeria's Aliko Dangote leading the pack, and of course that confirms the Forbes magazine finding of Aliko Dangote being the richest person in Africa. He told the editor of Forbes Africa, Chris Bishop, that in fact Forbes Africa had underestimated his enormous wealth. He is, however, followed by, and this is the interesting bit, by South Africa's Allan Gray, the guy after whom Allan Gray is named. He goes off and works for Fidelity Funds in the United States. He comes back to South Africa in 1973 and he starts a little boutique asset management house. That little boutique asset management house has got 60 or 70 or 80 billion rand under management, and it turns out it's been pretty profitable for its founder because, according to Ventures Africa, they say Allan Gray, the person, is worth, in his individual right, $8.5 billion, courtesy of Allan Gray, and then Orbis, of course, which operates out of Bermuda, where he lives. Hey, it's a good thing to be a money manager. I want to be your guys' best friends because you guys are going to be rich.
There's hope for us, definitely. I mean, it shows you that it can be, I guess, a very lucrative business. And the guys at Coronation also have done incredibly well. And if you have the right ingredients, but also I think it speaks to value investing and those values that are at the heart of it. In the long term, doing the right thing with the right principles.
Medium term.
Medium term, yeah. Look, that's the one downside. A lot of these really wealthy investors are pretty old. So,
yes,
you know.
But they've been wealthy for a long time.
That's true. Yeah.
Now they're just super wealthy.
By doing the basics. But
that's the lesson, isn't it? And who are the big shareholders in Coronation? Who are the big shareholders in Coronation?
Sorry, that question was directed.
But both of you, who are the big shareholders in Coronation?
It's David.
No, I don't. Not individuals. Okay. But he has Allan Gray. The fund management house owns 30% of Coronation.
Oh, wow.
So they saw the value created by their own investment house. They saw the business model being not too dissimilar in Coronation, so they bought a 30% stake in Coronation. Staff at Coronation will never have to work again because the staff trust owns 20% of this business. How much of Coronation is owned in funds? Nothing is owned in the funds because they just thought it was overvalued at 12 or 15 rand. They didn't want to buy their own shares and then be accused of supporting their own share price. We've seen it go to 60, 70 bucks. And the big beneficiaries are not the clients who've bought their funds, which goes to show that actually we should be investing in your businesses, not in the shares that you buy on our behalf.
What was the old, remember the old structure of Brait? Everyone always said it was better to be in the PE funds, the private equity funds, rather than owning Brait. I'm not too sure that is the case
that was
anymore.
The legend.
That was then. Now I think it's less so, obviously, because Brait's a lot more interesting. But I think you've got to pick people who you think you can trust, because I often find that in a savings environment, people will say, oh, no, let that person manage it. So you work bloody hard for your money. Why give away responsibility on the investment decision? And sure, I mean, you've tried to fix the toilet on the weekend. Eventually you call in the plumber. But you can show an interest.
No, call the plumber first. No
skills in that.
No, absolutely not.
No, my poor long-suffering wife.
Yes, and also, I mean, she's got problems that you don't have any handyman skills either.
This is true.
Yes,
this is true. But I think the point that I'm trying to make is the one that Rowan touched on. It's all about being able to pick the winning teams, and they keep it very simple. I think, again, it was Buffett or Munger who said, if you've got more than 120 or 130 IQ points in the investment game, give the rest away.
But here is a situation where we should be buying shares in the guys who manage the money, not in the vehicles they put the money into.
It's
shown time and time again.
It's an attractive business with great economics, and I think clearly a big distinction between the virtuous circle of successful managers and obviously that rising asset base, which is increasing earnings and further.
So rather than put money into unit trust, we should buy shares in RMI, for example.
But it's not a bad call at all. I mean, if you want to do simple investing, that's good advice.
Allan Gray didn't actually have it all their own way. No, I mean, you can go back 15, 16 years and you can find that they had a really tough period where there were outflows, etc. And they somehow managed to re-engineer it and capture back.
Largely due to Simon Murray, who's now running Orbis, as far as I can remember, going back to those principles of value investing. But in an environment as expensive as this one is, the value managers sit on the sidelines waiting patiently, and Allan Gray's been waiting patiently on the sidelines for some time.
Well, you know, I mean, lots of the world's best investors, they buy, and there are lots of different styles, you know, I mean, and some of the big high-flying hedge fund managers on Wall Street, like John Paulson, get a lot of attractiveness when, you know, he's the guy who, in my mind anyhow, he's the guy who monetized the financial crisis, so therefore he predicted it better than Nouriel Roubini, who probably still lives in the same apartment.
Possibly, but he's happy.
He doesn't look happy.
No, I think that's part of his brand.
Yeah.
You look grumpy, Nouriel. I am.
Yes.
Right, let's look at winners and losers on the week, because you were laughing. You laughed, you scoffed at my suggestion.
What was that?
Well, you scoff at so many of my suggestions. My suggestion that Telkom is going to be a big beneficiary of the interconnect costing cuts. The biggest loser this week is Vodacom, down 10%. The biggest winner is Telkom, up 11%.
Yes, but the South African government's 207 odd million shares that they own of both, the Vodacom share is worth, what, 24 billion, and the Telkom
However,
6.
if had I last week bought some Vodacom shares and bought some Telkom shares, I'd be 20% better off in my Telkom shares than I would be in Vodacom right now.
Yes, and I hope you placed a long bet on Janet Yellen too, Bruce.
Okay, there we go. He's so rude. Avenge, up 11% on the week as well. You say amazing, because there's just no good news, is there?
Yeah, so you've seen massive money flowing into the construction sector. It's now going sort of counter-cyclical. That's starting to get to... Yeah, I guess that's what people are looking for.
Yeah.
It is quite hard to find value. I mean, we've heard so much about the sector turning and the actual infrastructure spend starting to flow. I think it is actually starting. You see better order books, and people are saying these are very beaten down stocks, and
You saw Frankie selling the crown jewels.
No, but explain that deal to me, please, because here's Murray Roberts also up 5% on the week. You saw Frankie, the market didn't like what it's been doing. What has it done?
Well, the share price had run a lot leading up to this announcement because they had traded under cautionary. So Keller is a much bigger global player, and essentially they're buying the geotechnical piling business. For 500 million rand on a market cap of 720. So Mr. Market's saying, well, what's left for us?
Yeah.
Because they're paying down debt, special dividend, and then it's kind of, well...
Where to from here?
Yeah.
Among the biggest fallers on the week.
Bernie actually described it as someone had ripped my heart out. I think
that's tragic.
That is tragic.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Bernie. All right, moving on. Biggest faller on the week, I mentioned Vodacom. It stands to be the biggest loser in terms of interconnect. Would you at least agree with me on that particular point?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Chief, I've got something right. And then Harmony and Anglo-American, also big fallers on the week. Commodity prices have been really rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, so this whole debt standoff, and I mean, it's very negative potentially for global demand and obviously commodity prices and the commodity cycle. There was quite a big run up after the sort of curtailment of the easing of QE, and so you're seeing the share prices reverse somewhat as the global environment gets more uncertain.
BHP Billiton was down 5% on the week as well. When we look at the fifth biggest faller on the week, and it's one worth certainly talking about in some detail, share price down to below 80 Rand. This is a Discovery down very sharply on the week as well, down another 5%. There's been a steady decline ever since the trading update which came out. The market read as a profit warning. Then Adrian Gore stood up in front of his audience and assured them that it wasn't what it looked like, and the share price kept on falling.
If you look at it sort of over the medium term, it's been an incredibly strong performance.
Huge.
So it's still very high in terms of the absolute share price. And I think maybe the last set of results, sort of the growth and the sort of momentum had slowed somewhat, which I think caused some investors to pause. I think you're seeing very big volumes trading in the stock. I think we've also seen over the last 2 days foreigners selling down the JSE dramatically. So I think a lot of guys, it's not only stock specific, but it's also portfolio trimming of South Africa, given what you said about BMW,
et cetera,
that's impacting foreign view on the stock market.
When can I buy some Discoveries? Not time or day, just a level.
Yeah, when the market opens at 9.
I can. When should I?
I think it's a great company. I'd be accumulating around these levels. I don't know about any debt resolution or chest puffing in Washington, but no idea of knowing that. Do I want to be in a business which is trying to, maximize the most out of healthcare? Yes, because I think healthcare is one of the key investment themes over the next decade to decade and a half.
Absolutely. And if in your case, 3 decades from now, you'll desperately need them.
When I have no hair, yes.
Absolutely. Welcome to our world. Hey, Rowan, he's so here today. Gone tomorrow. My thanks to guests Asher Narushkin and Rowan Williams. Join us again next week as we try to make sense of the world around us at the same place, same time. Join me, Bruce Whitfield, here on Squawk, here on CNBC Africa, first in business worldwide. Good night.